We're going to talk about something that is, well, it's a mechanical nightmare. It's one of the absolute fastest, most destructive ways an engine can just completely die. It's called hydrolock, and it happens in the blink of an eye, turning something totally harmless into a weapon of mass destruction for your car. So, let's dive in.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What do you think can totally destroy a car's engine in, like, less than a second?
Your mind probably goes straight to something dramatic, right? Like over-revving on a racetrack or a huge crash. But nope, it's not speed, and it's not a crash. The real culprit is, well, it's something you see pretty much every single day.
Yeah, you're looking at it. Just plain old water. When it ends up in the wrong place, at the exact wrong time, inside your engine, it turns into this unstoppable force of pure destruction. So, how on earth does water do that?
Okay, so to really get hydrolock, you gotta first understand what an engine is supposed to do. And its main job is actually pretty simple. It's built to squeeze something that's meant to be squeezed.
And here's the absolute key difference. See, your engine is designed to take in a mix of air and fuel, which is a gas, right? And gases are super easy to compress. So the piston goes up, squishes it, no problem, and the engine runs just fine. But water, well, water's a liquid, and you just can't compress a liquid. Trying to squeeze water in a confined space is like trying to squeeze a brake.
Think about it like this. Grab a syringe, right? If you just pull in some air, put your finger over the end and push the plunger. You can push it in a good ways. The air squishes down. Super easy.
Okay, now do the same thing, but this time, fill that syringe with water. Put your finger on the end and try to push. It's not going to budge, not even a millimeter. It's like hitting a solid wall. That feeling of hitting a wall is exactly what happens inside an engine cylinder during hydrolock.
All right, so we've established water as public enemy number one inside an engine cylinder. But how does it even get in there in the first place? How does this intruder sneak past the gates?
Well, the number one culprit by a long shot is driving through deep water. A flooded road after a big storm. Your engine's air intake is basically a giant vacuum. And if that intake pipe dips under the water, guess what? It's going to suck in instead of air. Yep, gallons of water. And just like that, you've set the stage for complete and total engine failure. Okay, let's zoom in on that precise moment of catastrophe. This is it. This is the classic physics problem. An unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. Except this isn't a thought experiment. It's happening inside your engine block.
And this whole event has a name. It's called hydrolock, or hydraulic lock. All it means is that a liquid got into the cylinder and created a physical roadblock, stopping the piston dead in its tracks as it's trying to move up. It's a hard stop.
You have to picture this. That piston is rocketing upwards with incredible speed, pushed by the massive rotational force of the crankshaft. It's expecting to hit a soft, squishy pillow of air and fuel, but instead, it slams full speed into a solid wall of water. The water won't give, but the crankshaft behind that piston, it still has all this momentum, and it is not planning on stopping.
So now you have a huge problem. All that energy, all that force, it has to go somewhere. The piston is stuck, but the crankshaft is still trying to shove it up. Something's got to give. So, what do you think is the weakest link in that chain? What breaks first?
And there's your answer. The water goes in, the piston slams into it, and all that force finds the path of least resistance, and that is almost always the connecting rod. It literally bends like a piece of spaghetti or just snaps clean in half. We're not talking about a slow wear and tear kind of failure. This is instantaneous. It's violent. It's over in a fraction of a second.
Oh, and it gets worse. The destruction doesn't just stop with a bent rod. That's just the start of a catastrophic domino effect. You can end up with cracked pistons, shattered crankshaft bearings, and if the force is big enough, it can literally blow a hole right through the side of the engine block. I mean, it is just total carnage.
So that's the absolute chaos happening inside the engine. But what about you? What are you actually hearing and feeling from the driver's seat? Well, let me tell you, the signs are pretty hard to miss.
So imagine you're driving through that puddle, and suddenly your engine just stops. Dead. That's the moment the piston hit the water. You'll probably hear a really loud, awful bang or a clunk. That's not a good sound. That's the literal sound of your engine's insides breaking. And then if you try to turn the key again, nothing. The engine won't even try to turn over because that now bent connecting rod is physically jamming the whole works.
And you might be thinking, okay, but how much water does it take? How many times does this have to happen? And the answer is absolutely wild. It takes one. Just one single time.
One piston on one compression stroke, hitting a cylinder full of water is all it takes to grenade an entire engine.
Okay, so the damage is obviously terrifyingly bad. But here's the good news. Hydrolock is almost 100% preventable. So let's talk about the game plan for making sure this never ever happens to you.
Rule number 1, and honestly, this is like 99% of it, is just don't drive through deep water. Seriously. A good rule is, if you can't see the road surface or the lines painted on it, turn around. It's not worth it. It also helps to know where your car's air intake is. You might be surprised how low down it is. Now, if you're a serious off-roader, you might have a snorkel to raise that intake way up high, but for everyday driving, just stay out of the deep stuff.
So, when you boil it all down, the takeaway is really simple. It's all about one basic law of physics. You can't compress a liquid. The second that water gets inside, the engine's own immense power turns against itself, creating this mechanical shock that absolutely will destroy it. Not maybe, it will destroy it in just a couple of seconds. So I'll leave you with this. Next time you see one of those massive puddles covering the road, you gotta ask yourself, am I feeling lucky?